Now, a lot of this gets solved at ETH 2.0. I think it gets done by March of next year. Who knows? Well, I own less Bitcoin and more Ethereum. So basically still 100% of my liquid net worth is in crypto. And I know everybody always asks the split. It's currently 55% Ethereum, which is going up every day because Ethereum's outperforming, which I know some people don't like to hear. 25% Bitcoin, and a kind of tail of an equally weighted basket of other protocols and tokens, plus a bit more of a concentrated bet in community tokens and NFT side of stuff.
Has Ethereum naturally increased its position based on price action, or have you been purposely buying more, converting from Bitcoin into Ethereum?
Purposefully. Firstly, I saw the vitriol of the Bitcoin community when I, in October, started saying the ETH chart looks pretty interesting and ETH Bitcoin chart looks interesting. People were angry. They hunted me down online, and I was like, that always makes me, if somebody says I'm an idiot for looking at something, it makes me want to look at it. So I started doing work on it. And the assumption was from the Bitcoin community was Bitcoin was special. It was the only one. And it was driven by store of value, and everything else was a shitcoin. So then I started looking into Metcalfe's law, and I realized that Bitcoin and Ethereum were priced off exactly the same mechanism, as were all of these tokens. And that it wasn't special Bitcoin in how it was priced. It was basically the number of users. And, yes, Metcalfe's law is the number of users and basically the interconnection between those users. And I looked at that and went, oh my God, well, Ethereum's just launched DeFi and NFTs and all of this stuff. So there's a lot more activity going on the chain than there was on Bitcoin. And that made me start to pay attention. Then the chart started breaking out. And then I realized that the breadth of what was happening, the speed of the growth of the network in Ethereum was twice as fast as Bitcoin. So it was likely to grow twice as fast as Bitcoin in price. Simple as that.
Are any of the fundamentals concerning to you, the sort of endless 18 months away of Ethereum 2.0, the high gas fees, any of those? Or do you think that those are functions of a nascent asset that'll eventually be eliminated?
Well, I wrote an article saying the greatest trade. And basically I looked at Ethereum, looked at the on-chain data, and realized that, okay, we've just gone through the EIP 1559. So that's burning ETH. Then I looked at, okay, on-chain, what's going on? Well, there was a huge amount that had been taken off exchange, an enormous amount that had been staked for ETH 2.0. There's a massive amount that was also in DeFi locked away. And that left 13% of the entire supply available on exchange. So the supply is falling every day. It's probably about 11% now. And yet demand was exponential. So if you've got exponential demand and limited supply, you're going to get an exponential rise in price. I looked at this and said, not until ETH 2.0 comes out is this going to change, because everybody's going to stake, because there's no point not staking until that moment, right? Because the ETH price is going to rise. So everyone's incentivized to stake or to take it off exchange, and there's no supply, and it's going to keep falling. And they're burning ETH. I mean, holy shit, you never get an opportunity like this. I'm like, this is better than Bitcoin was in March 2020. This is a monster.
And a lot of Ethereum is actually sitting on platform or exchange earning yield that's not staked in the Ethereum 2.0 contract. I mean, you could hold Ethereum on the BlockFi's, Voyagers of the world. It's still sitting technically on exchange, but is effectively locked in yield.
Yeah, so if you imagine that you've got a network that is now incredibly attractive in risk reward with incredible attractive yields, no wonder the gas fees are high, right? Because it's incredibly in demand. Does that push people out into Solana and other things? Of course, and that's great because it's a multi-chain world out there. So people who need cheap, fast transactions will move to different chains. People who want the benefits of Ethereum will remain on Ethereum. And there's a huge investor base that will remain on Ethereum for the reasons we've talked about. Now, a lot of this gets solved at ETH 2.0. I think it gets done by March of next year. Who knows? But my guess is it's a buy the rumor, sell the fact, because everyone can unlock after it comes out.
Sure.
And everybody sells their ETH to, take some chips off the table. So my guess is we'll have this complete parabolic move into 2.0 and then the unwind afterwards. much like we saw with Coinbase. If you remember, Coinbase was the exact high of Bitcoin.
It was.
And as soon as it came out, everything plummeted because buy the rumor, sell the fact.
Yeah, futures in December 2017 and the Coinbase listing in 2021 were the tops of the two major cycles. You touched on the fact that your interest in Ethereum somewhat sparked as a result of the vitriol that you received from the community when you even dared mention it. I view them as really separate assets, separate investments. I made the comparison recently to saying you can buy gold and you can buy Amazon and nobody would think you were crazy or that you were betraying one or the other. Why do you think that that vitriol exists? Why do you think that people view them as such comparable assets and can't separate them?
If you notice online, this is happening everywhere. It's anti-Tesla, anti-ARC, anti-EV in generally, anti-climate change, anti-vax, anti-crypto. Bitcoin people don't like Ethereum, right? There's this weird split. When you step back and say, what is going on here? There is one narrative that ties it all together. It's the fear of change. We're going through the fastest period of change of all human history. And it's hard for people. And they want to know what they know. And they can't deal with all of this change happening. So Peter Schiff, I had a long discussion with him today on a different podcast. And it's like, Peter just doesn't want to know, really. We're never going to persuade him. He doesn't want to know. He knows what he knows. It's what he values, and that's it. The people who hate Tesla or electric cars or whatever, it's to do with they're moving away from something they know. The trusted car, the engine, the part of the culture, and that all goes. And it's the same with the vaccine, which is a technology. People are like, I don't trust the technology. It's because the future's coming at us too fast. And Bitcoin, with the rest of the crypto space, is kind of the same because they're like, but we had the perfect thing. And as you say, yeah, but there's different perfect things for different outcomes. And in fact, nothing is perfect here, right. But there's a bunch of use cases for a bunch of different things, and that's okay. It doesn't stop Bitcoin being amazing. It doesn't stop gold being amazing. And it doesn't stop a Ferrari petrol engine being amazing. That's okay. They can all exist. But the world is changing, whether you like it or not. I think it's going to be reasonable. And I think the battle that happened a couple of weeks ago or last week, I can't remember, everything happens in like a whole year happens in a week in crypto. But that showed that there is a huge bunch of young voters who will not get pushed around and that people want change. Younger people want change and the older people fear change. I get it. That's normal.